All right, so we got some basics practice here. I'll probably get interrupted in a few minutes. There's some meeting I'm supposed to go to, but let's get done what we can get done. And since I'm a little low on time, let's just do the back page. Maybe I can get through that. State the domain of the piecewise function that is graphed. So this thing starts at x values of -5, and it goes all the way to -4. And at -4, there's an open hole, and there's no place else that's going to fix the hole at -4. So I'm -5 to -4, parentheses on a -4 because the hole is there, and I run from -4 to 2. I'm going to start with that running. And I'd be very tempted to write down 2 with the parentheses because there's a hole here, but if I was to feed this function a 2, it would return a value of -3. So I actually get to continue here because there's no break on x here. X has a value, and I continue till 7. 7 is open hold. Remember, open circle, we use parentheses. Closed, we use brackets. That's how it works. All right. Number 11 is state the range of the piecewise function graphed. It has a low value of -3. Let's go old school, like when you're Algebra 1. I see that y is -3. By the way, it's y. You might do something like this. Maybe you remember this. There's -3. There's nothing at -4, but there's really something really close above it. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is how you would have reported range in Algebra 1 on IXL. That would be the IXL way. All right. Here what I have is I have this little guy that has a -3. That's a y value. And I make this jump right up here. Now y is not actually 0 here, so I use parentheses. And I can continue climbing all the way to 5. Now if I climb this way to 5, there's an open hole. But if I climb this way to 5, it's closed. So I get to the bracket trumps the parentheses, just the way it is. If you have a choice between bracket and parentheses, use the bracket. So -3 union with, parentheses, that's a parentheses, 0 to 5. That is supposed to be a parentheses. Whereas the graph increasing, it would be this path right here. We start increasing immediately to the right of -4, and we stop increasing immediately to the left of 2. So -4 to 2. This is the decreasing guy right here, from -5 to -4. And the increasing and decreasing and constant, all three guys, these always use parentheses. Because the bracket means at that point you're still doing it, and you're not. At that point it's done. State the intervals where the graph is constant. That's from 2 to 7. Then we have the x-intercepts. You'd be very tempted to say that this one has one, but it does not. There's an open hole. This one has none because there's a hole there. It does have a y-intercept, and you're going to have to kind of guesstimate it. It's around 3.25 or so. Is 0, roughly 3.25. You kind of had to guess. That's the way it is. Your quiz will be multiple choice. Pick the closest one. Determine the average rate of change over the interval from -5 to 2. So I look at my graph at -5. I'm right here on the, can't see. -5, I'm right here on the graph. At 2, I'm right here. So it's about this linear path right here. So I dropped from 5 to -3. I actually went down 8. That'd be negative. I went right from -5 to 2. I went right 7. Down 8, right 7. -8 sevenths. Find f of 2 if it exists. If it does not exist, state y. So when x is 2, this is it. We find y. A lot of you left this blank on the last one when x is 2. So when x is 2, this is where you are on the x-axis. I could be here for a y value where there isn't one because there's a hole, or I could be here where there's a y value, and the y value is -3. Find f of -4. So when I go to where x is -4, I see a hole. And there's nowhere else the graph is drawn for me to plug in a value. So it does not exist because x equals 4 is not in the domain. I mean, look up here. That's not in the domain. Really close to -4 is, because these are parentheses. If it was a bracket, I'd have had an answer. But x equals 4 is not in the domain. All right, on to the bonuses, which more of y'all should do. I don't know why you don't do them, but whatever. You should do them. They're not hard. You take a finger or you take something. Here, I'll use a piece of nicotine gum this time. I cover up. Actually, it's too big. There we go. It says 2x plus 7 is 0. I don't even know why this is a bonus question. It's so easy. I subtract 7. I divide by 2. -7/2. I cover up. 7x plus a fifth is 0. I subtract a fifth. 7x is -1/5. I divide by 7. And I'm putting that 7 into the denominator that I already have. And I get that x is -1/35. There's your two answers. Bonus 2 is solving by factoring. After we finish up with matrices, we're going to move into factoring. So you better hurry up and figure out how to do it. I am going to guess that I'm going to use a 3x and a 2x, and if I'm wrong, so be it. I got a bit of a head cold today, and it's really got me all messed up. Factors of 35. I know it's 7 and 5. I'm going to put a 7 there, and I'm going to put 5 there. I'm just going to. The outside makes 15x, the inside makes 14x, and I want a positive x in the middle. So I add 15 and take away 14. Still equal to 0. It is solved by factoring. And now use the easy stuff in bonus 1 to do this. 3x minus 7 is nothing, or 2x plus 5 is nothing. Factoring and solving by factoring is not a hard skill. Add 7, 3x is 7, x would be 7/3. Subtract 5, 2x is -5, x is -5/2. Bonus 3 is the difference quotient. You don't really have to know how to do this unless you're going to take me next year or you're going to take dual enrollment math next year. If you're just going to take bridge math, you don't have to worry about this. But we're going to do everything it says. It wants f of x plus h, which means that everywhere I see an x, I let it be x plus h. And I got to crank out the math here. I got to figure out what x plus h times x plus h is. If you do this 5 or 6 times, you'll have it memorized. It's x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. Got to distribute my -5. And that's one of the things. We don't want to do enough stuff. We don't want to repeat enough times. And we don't enforce memorization. Math isn't hard if you're willing to memorize. I don't know what to do for the kids who just can't memorize. I figure it's about interest. A lot of kids say, I can't memorize. I've had some kids get really angry when I tell them that everybody can memorize. They don't understand. It's their interest level. I understand you want a good grade. I understand that this is the only class that you're doing bad in. And you probably feel it's my fault. I swear to you, it's not my fault. You need to figure out how to memorize. 2x squared plus 4xh plus 2h squared minus 5x minus 5h minus 6 is this piece. And now I'm going to do what this says. It says, take that ugly thing that you just wrote. This is actually a calculus concept. Take away f of x. Notice the take away symbol? There's f of x. 2 or more things we wrap. So make sure you wrap it. And place all of it over an h. And then things are going to cancel out. Whatever is here disappears from over here. So there's a 2x squared, they cancel. There's a -5x, they cancel. There's a -6, they cancel. it always cleans up like that. Whatever's in here, you throw away. We have 4xh plus 2h squared minus 5h, all sitting pretty over an h. And there are 4 distinct pieces of that fraction, and every single piece has an h. One way I could think about this is I could pull the h. And then I'd see it. The h's cancel, and this is what I'm left with. All right, that is the backside. All right, thank you. And just as I said, I got to go. I have a meeting.